Should I use the public defender or should I hire a private attorney? If you have been arrested, this is probably something that you're asking yourself and certainly something that you should ask yourself. In this video, I'm going to be going through the 3 key differences between the public defender and hiring a private criminal defense attorney. My name is Veronica. I am a criminal defense attorney here in Los Angeles, and I help people who have been arrested put their criminal cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. And again, in this video, I'm going to be going through 3 key differences between a private criminal defense attorney like me and a public defender. And before I get started, I would like to say, and I need to make this very clear, I am not knocking public defenders here. In fact, in law school, the only way that we're allowed to get in-court experience as law students, as non-lawyers, is if we work for a government agency. And so I knew for sure I'm not going to be working for the prosecutor's office, and so I volunteered at a public defender's office. And the public defender that I was assigned to, her name is Clarissa, when I first started there, eventually they split us up, which was sad for both of us, but she was amazing. There are some really fantastic public defenders, and I am not knocking public defenders. I've also seen really shitty ones, but I've seen really shitty private criminal defense attorneys too, and they're not free. So let's get started though, these 3 key differences. So number 1 is the ability to help you and represent you, advise you before your first court date. Now, if you are being charged with murder, for example, maybe this is not a concern to you. You've already been charged. Your bail is probably at least $1 million. This is not going to be a big concern. You've got bigger fish to fry than this. But if you are charged with, for example, a 273.5, which is in California, this is a felony level domestic violence case. Or any felony, I would say, where your bail is $50,000 and any misdemeanor at all, then you want someone to talk to the prosecutor's office before court, because many times we are able to get them to not file charges against you. If they don't file charges against you, the whole case is over. It's actually better than winning a jury trial, because now you don't have to deal with the case. You have no risk. You don't have to deal with having a record. You're just done with the whole thing. There are no classes to take. And you can't get a public defender for that. It's not the public defender's fault. It is because you cannot get a public defender until charges have actually been filed against you. And when you're arrested and given a court date, there are generally no charges yet, so you won't get a public defender until that very first court date. So that is number 1, and I mean, this one really does make a very big difference though. If it were me, I had limited funds. I think of myself as, let's say, a college student, law student, heck, like when I first became a lawyer, and you have really, really limited funds at that time, and you're thinking about, well, I don't want to spend the money if I don't have to, but you kind of have to, because if let's say you have no criminal record, and this is, you may have, if charges are filed against you, the chances of getting them dismissed, like you would probably have to go to jury trial to get them dismissed. Not always, there are some exceptions, but many times you're going to have to go to jury trial. If you go to a jury trial, that's very expensive. It's very risky with any attorney, but the public defender, as I'll get into in number 2, just doesn't have the time to put in to fully prepare, so your chances of winning decrease significantly. And if you lose, now the judge will sentence you to whatever they want. So if anything, if maybe I have to use a private attorney only to talk to the DA in this pre-filing period before the first court date, I would do that. If I had to use the public defender once they filed charges to negotiate a plea deal, okay, you've got to do what you've got to do. But this is probably the most important period for most cases that are $50,000 bail felonies and below. Especially if you have no criminal history, it's really, really important. And the public defender just cannot do that. Number 2 is the amount of time that they have available to spend on your case. And again, I've seen this firsthand. The attorney that I was with and we both cared so much about our clients. We were trying so hard for every single case to get every client the best possible outcome. But you've got limited time. You have maybe 25 people every single morning. Some of them will take plea deals, but from 8:30 to noon every single day, this is what you are dealing with all these different people, and you're trying to talk to them for a few minutes in the hallway. The judge wants you back in the courtroom. There's somebody else who needs you. There's very limited time to spend on each case. And yes, we do have the afternoon, but many times that is spent on hearings. Or, like, how are we supposed to read everybody's police reports, discovery, go through them, file motions? I mean, all of our time is so limited. As a private criminal defense attorney, I mean, sometimes I will have maybe two, I guess, on crazy days when I was stacked sort of against my will by the court, maybe three cases in one morning. But generally, I just have one. Generally, I show up at court and I am there just for you. My entire goal in being there is to be there for you. So, I mean, of course, every case is different, but in general, the more time you can spend on something, the better result that you are going to get. And they just aren't allotted enough time to necessarily in every single case put the amount of time that they could in order to. They have a cap on their time for every case. That's basically it. And I know I'm tiptoeing around here because it's not the public defender's fault, right? You take your job and you're told you have 100 cases a week. What can you do? You know, you do your best. But at a certain point, you realize you can't spend so much time on one case that you neglect all of the other people. So you sort of spread it all around, and is it enough for anyone? Not really. And on that note, number 3 is communication. So, you know, I don't know how public defenders and public defender clients deal with this, but I know that my clients text me all of the time. They text me, they call my office, and we respond to them. We respond to them that day. In fact, I have a very lovely, fantastic case manager, Louisa, who is part of the team and who makes sure that she gets back to clients every single day. Sometimes she'll have to check with me, what's going on with this, whatever, but she's getting back to them. Public defenders, and when I say I don't know how they deal with this, I just don't know how their clients can possibly be okay with this, because I know how much my clients need me between court dates sometimes. You generally cannot talk to them between court dates. I know some, especially some of the really new ones who aren't burnt out yet, they'll try to get back to people when they can, but how are you supposed to get back to people when you have so many, right? And family members that are trying to call, trying to figure out what's going on, you're probably not going to get it anywhere. Whereas for me, I have someone whose sole job it is and whose performance is evaluated based on getting back to people and our clients being happy. So that's number 3. And, you know, I wasn't sure if I was going to get into this, but I'm going to give us a bonus, or give you a bonus. Number 4, which is motivation, okay? As a private criminal defense attorney, I am running a business. I want my clients to be happy with their experiences here, even non-clients who call me, people who call for a consultation. Maybe I can't help you, but I want you to have a good experience calling my business. Of course, business reputations are important, right? And I want clients to be happy. I want them to refer other people to me. I get so happy. It's great when I get a great review, or I get, you know, a postcard that's really lovely, something like that from a client. But really, what makes me feel like, oh, wow, like I did something great. Someone's really happy with me. I did a good job, which can be hard to feel sometimes in criminal defense, you know, is when someone sends me a referral. When they send me somebody that they care about and they tell that person, hey, I know a really good attorney, and they give them to me knowing that they'll be in good hands, I get their vote of confidence, and that makes me feel so good. Obviously, from a business perspective of generating new clients, that is good. But that is what makes me feel good. That is how my performance, you know, as a business owner is measured. How happy are my clients? And I know sometimes it's very happy to make people happy in criminal defense. Sometimes, you know, the best that I can make you feel is relieved. Like, you don't get anything. I'm not doing personal injury where I can give you a big check at the end. Sometimes it's just relief, your loved one going home, whatever. But that makes me feel really happy. But the public defender, it's different. You know what they're measured by? They are measured by their ability to close cases quickly. So they need, like at the very first court date, many times, especially for lower level felonies, the public defender's job is to try to get you to take a deal right away. One, and I think it's Department 1 in Long Beach, that one is particularly bad for this because the judge will make it seem like it's the judge and the public defender and the DA are kind of all working together to make it seem like if you don't take that deal right then, and you're an inmate, you can only talk to the public defender, then you're just going to go to prison forever, basically. It's going to be the worst possible thing, which is not necessarily true. I've said in that courtroom with my clients, told them, no, we're not taking that deal. But you have nobody else to turn to. I mean, their job, in large part, is to close these cases because, like I said, if they spend too much time in any one case, and one case keeps lingering, court date after court date after court date, the client wants motions filed, maybe it's going to trial, then this layer of legal help they're spreading becomes too thin in some parts. So their job is to not allow that to happen. And again, I'm not disparaging public defenders. It is not that they are bad attorneys. Some of them are especially good attorneys. But you can be the best attorney in the entire world, and if you do not have enough time to spend the attention to detail, the time and attention to every single fact in the case, every discrepancy that is there, your chances of winning most cases is going to go down significantly. If there's a case where maybe not a whole lot of attention to detail, not a whole lot of time is needed, okay, or maybe you allow yourself to get spread super thin across the other clients because you love this one, which is a good way to get burnt out. But that's basically how they work. So bonus number 4 is motivation. Like, what makes us feel like we are doing a good job here? Anyway, I hope that this helped, and if you do have a criminal case in Los Angeles, in Orange County, feel free to give me a call, or you can book a consultation down below.